Hello, hello. Okay, we are jumping into our bonus video for today. After module two, which was all about your life, and your habits and your rhythms, you should now have a morning rhythm and a nighttime routine rhythm that you're going to be diving into and creating. And that's going to be beautiful and awesome. And I look forward to hearing how that goes for you guys. But before we dive into module three, which is all about your home, it is really important that we dive into God's monthly design. God's monthly design for the woman body is truly a beautiful and miraculous thing that is twisted and turned into being something ugly. Like a lot of women are uneducated about it because it's like, honestly, we're still learning so much about the female body. But a big thing is that I personally believe is that the devil has purposely twisted the monthly design for a woman to be resented and hated when God's design was lovely and beautiful and truly miraculous. I know I already said that, but it's true. So we're going to go ahead and dive into what God's monthly design for the woman is. So, most women have a hormone cycle and a monthly menstruating cycle that lasts 21 to 35 days. Also, if you are someone that has been diagnosed with PCOS, or maybe you were in the menopause stage or premenopause, or if you don't have a cycle or regular cycle of any kind, this is still important to learn. And then we're going to dive into how you still can create healthy rhythms for your home, for your mind, and for your life using your energy levels. So we're going to talk about that in module three, but this is still good for you to learn and know. All right, so there are four different cycles, and it's your menstrual phase, your follicle phase, your ovulatory phase, and your luteal phase. The menstrual phase, let's kind of discuss what's happening in this phase. What is your body doing? Estrogen and progesterone are at their lowest levels. So we had just gone through our luteal phase where we started with a ton of progesterone and then it slowly faded and fizzled out into estrogen and progesterone being at their lowest. The uterus lining is being shed, and that is what is coming out of you during your period week. Then there's this big word that I don't know how to pronounce, but basically all of this is saying that it triggers cramps. Then your blood flow increases, your body prioritizes healing and repair, and the nervous system favors a parasympathetic rest and digest state. This lasts 3 to 7 days. Now, what's actually going on in our mind during the menstrual phase? You more than likely will have a desire to withdraw or be quiet. Sometimes we like to just be alone and cuddle up in our bed and not do anything. We also are more emotional, so we have a lot more sensitivity going on, and we're more reflective and introspective thinking. So we're kind of down in the dumps. We're thinking about ourselves, we're thinking inwardly, we're thinking about that conversation we had back in second grade. Our patience is also lower, and our tolerance for noise and chaos is also lower. And also stronger need for comfort, safety, and reassurance. During your menstrual phase, you are very vulnerable. You're very weak, you're very vulnerable, and you need a helper, honestly. So during this phase for a woman, it is a beautiful opportunity to practice communication with your spouse and to practice that delegation that needs to happen with normal life things. We're going to dive more into that a little later, but this is what is happening in your mind during your menstrual phase and also what was happening in your body. The next phase is called the follicle phase. Follicular phase. Sorry. So what is the body doing during this phase? The follicular phase begins on the first day of menstruation and signals a new cycle. The brain releases follicle stimulating hormone, which is your FSH hormone, prompting the ovaries to mature eggs. Estrogen levels will gradually start to rise as one follicle becomes dominant. The rising estrogen rebuilds the uterus lining and improves your energy and focus. This is why the week after your period, you tend to have a lot more motivation, your brain feels clearer, and you feel like you can tackle more mentally hard tasks that previously you did not want to cover and even think about. The body shifts into a growth-oriented state, preparing for ovulation and fertility. So this is the growing stage. The last week or the last phase was kind of your vulnerable sleeping stage. This is your growing stage. And during your mind or in your mind, estrogen begins to rise in the brain, and that means that your motivation and your mental energy will increase. Thinking clearer will happen, and you will also feel more flexible. So what happens in your brain whenever you are menstruating, right? We talked about the three major parts, the prefrontal cortex, the amygdala, and the hippocampus. We talked about how when the amygdala was going off, the hippocampus can't function to its fullest ability. During your menstrual phase, your amygdala is heightened and going off a lot, which is why brain fog and quite literally having a hard time remembering how to do things will happen because your hippocampus isn't able to work like 100% because amygdala and the prefrontal cortex are more focused on figuring out the pain, the discomfort, healing the body and what's going on the inside. During your follicle phase, that wall of the amygdala is going down. So your hippocampus and your prefrontal cortex are able to communicate with each other 100% again. And that's why thinking will feel clearer and you will be more flexible to be able to do a bunch of different things. Your emotions will feel calmer and more balanced, which means your amygdala will be more at bay, and hope and confidence and readiness often return. During this phase, it is best to focus on things that are mentally difficult and not necessarily physically difficult. You can do both, but if you determine what tasks in your home and also what habits you have that are more mentally draining during this phase is whenever you can focus on them. The next phase is your ovulatory phase. What is happening in the body whenever you are experiencing ovulation? So estrogen rises to its peak and triggers a surge of the LH hormone. Then one mature egg will be released from the ovary, and then the egg will travel down into the fallopian tube for possible fertilization. Your cervical mucus becomes slippery to support conception. That's like TMI, but whatever. Energy and coordination and physical confidence is peak. This day, your ovulation day, only lasts 12 to 24 hours. So your ability to get like super pregnant, you can get pregnant other times as well, but whenever you are ovulating, that's when you are only able to be pregnant or get pregnant because you need the egg to travel in order to get pregnant. So, anyways, I won't talk a whole lot about that because to be honest, I don't know much. I don't know much. But what I do know is that during this week, during your week of ovulation, your estrogen is at its highest, which means your confidence is at its highest, which means you feel the most physically capable of doing things that otherwise were more challenging, and you also feel the most social. So during this phase is whenever you want to go about doing the things that are more physically difficult and are more, um, you'll want to focus on things. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. You want to focus on things that are more physically difficult and also the most social. You want to be careful not to overcommit during this week. It's very easy to want to say yes to everything and to make plans to go out and do all the things this week, like during this week, because that's when you feel the most sociable. And then what happens 2 weeks from ovulation? Menstruation. So if you are planning something in the future, you want to make sure you are planning it during a time of your cycle where you know you will not be absolutely dead inside. So, yes, but during this week, your energy is at its highest and you'll be the most motivated to do hard things that are more physical. Whereas in the follicular phase, that's when you'll be motivated to do hard things that are more mental. Okay, so let's talk about what's happening in the mind. Your mind during this phase is feeling very confident. Your self-assurance naturally feels higher, and communication feels easier and more expressive. Social connection and closeness feels more appealing, and motivation is outward focused and people oriented. Emotions often feel warm, steady, and optimistic. Okay, the last phase of the woman's cycle before it repeats again into menstruation is the luteal phase. During the luteal phase, your progesterone becomes the dominant hormone. What happens is your brain will send a ton of progesterone after ovulation because your brain, whether or not you did the deed to put the potential blessing in your womb, whether or not you're even married, like your body naturally assumes that that egg that was released has just been fertilized and there's a baby growing. So during your luteal phase is when your body jumps into nurturing mode and becomes a powerhouse. What happens is progesterone goes to start nurturing the baby. And then when it finds out that the baby is not actually in the womb, then the progesterone will just slowly fizzle out. So I like to call this phase your decrescendo phase if you are familiar with music terms. A decrescendo is whenever something starts really loud and then it gets to really quiet. So you're going to start this phase being super motivated. But again, before I jump ahead, let's talk about what's actually happening in your body. So the uterus prepares to support a possible pregnancy, and metabolism slightly increases, raising your calorie needs. This is why you may be feeling more hungry the week before your period. And you'll notice that, like, maybe if you're tracking your calories, you are craving more calories the week before your period because your body is literally trying to store nutrients for the baby that could potentially be in your womb. Okay, the nervous system shifts towards rest and protection. It wants to start protecting inwardly what is happening and it's wanting to start slowing down. If pregnancy does not occur, the hormones will slowly decline. And what happens in our mind during this stage? Your focus turns more inward towards reflection and completion. So you're thinking about all the things you need to get done. And you also are thinking about your self-worth and you are more sensitive and emotional. Everyone kind of knows that during this phase. Your patience may decrease as energy slowly lowers, and the desire for comfort and quietness and order will grow. This is the phase that you want routine. And then when that routine is not there, it usually results in feeling self-doubt or guilt, and there's not a lot of grace. Your feelings may range from feeling grounded and thoughtful to easily overwhelmed. So I like to think of this phase as how we can approach it in life is our preparing phase. We know that our menstrual phase is coming. We know that our body is going to need to slow down and be more chill, but we also are feeling super motivated, but we also have a timeline because we know our body is slowly going to go from being super motivated to not wanting to do anything at all. So during the first, let's see how many days, it lasts 10 to 14 days. So during the first 5 days, you want to be focusing on more harder tasks that can help prepare you for the menstrual phase. So anything you want to have that week is what you can be preparing and doing during this phase. So like if you wanted to prep freezer meals so that you wouldn't have to worry about dinner, or if you want to wash your bed sheets so that you can have a nice bed to crawl into during your menstrual phase, or if you want to clean your bathroom so that you'll be able to take a nice bath, whatever it is for you, like it's going to look different for each person. But anyways, so during that phase, you want to start it with your high energy, high physical demanding things, and then you want it to slowly turn into slower things that can help prepare you for menstruation because then it all repeats. It all repeats and it goes back in this giant cycle that lasts forever and is a beautiful, beautiful design. Okay, so we're not going to read the love languages thing because we're going to talk about that in module 3. But this is, again, the phases: menstrual, follicle, week of ovulation, and your luteal phase. So over here, let's talk about this. Whenever you are creating your habits, whenever you are creating anything, honestly, in your home, in your life, when you're planning, when you are doing anything. If you are a woman, being aware of your cycle can significantly help you learn how to plan and how to feel in control of your home, of your habits, and of your mind. So during your menstrual phase, if you know your energy is at its lowest, then you want to pair and habits and tasks that match the menstrual phase. So if you are, maybe you're in pain from your period and your energy is super low and you're not wanting to do anything. During this phase is when your something lovely could be doing self-affirmations or simply reading self-affirmations. Doing something body could be taking a nice bubble bath or washing your face. Um, yeah, washing your face or doing something active could be a gentle stretching routine that you can find on YouTube. Doing something helpful could be maybe folding towels or um, something slower. Like again, this is going to be unique to you. So whatever tasks match this phase for you is what you should be pouring into. And same with the follicle phase. During this phase, you want to pair what tasks and what habits you can do for each of your um, rhythm pillars. So I love the rhythms method because the something rhythms method, because that can stay concrete. That can stay the same every single day, every single week. It does not change. And you do not have to feel guilty for not doing something because if you had a routine, if you had a strict routine that said you needed to go to the gym for 2 hours or whatever, you feel guilty not doing that during your week of menstruation whenever you literally like sometimes can't even get out of bed. So instead of having a strict routine with strict to-dos, it's important to have the guidelines, the something rhythm guidelines and pillars so that you can still hit your pillars and you can still hit your um rhythms and all your action points, but what you do can change and match your cycle and what your brain desires and needs. Okay, so during the follicle phase, again, estrogen rises, your brain works faster and feels more important. It's easier to do harder things. Identify or choose more challenging chores that use more of your brain to tackle, less of your hands, more of your brain. Monthly budget is a great thing to do during your follicle phase. Another thing, like doing an inventory of some kind is a great thing to do during your follicle phase. Um, yeah, going through your mail, cleaning out your email inbox, working on taxes, those things that are more mentally draining is great for your follicle phase. Then your ovulatory phase, this is when your energy is at its highest. This is when you feel the most confident because your body literally wants to do things. So estrogen peaks and your testosterone rises. This boosts your strength, your confidence, and your drive. More than one drive. This is usually when you are the most social. You feel more capable and confident, and hard things feel doable. The physical hard things. So you want to choose more challenging chores in your home that are more physical. And this is a great time to be going to the gym and hitting those hard workouts. And then your luteal phase is whenever you have the most progesterone at the very beginning and then it slowly fizzles out. You want to your focus moves to the potential blessing in the womb and your body slows down and needs more rest and more food. So you will get tired more easily. So you want to start with the more demanding chores and then slowly have more calm chores to work on. Noise, mess, and stress will bother you more. So maybe focusing on clutter during this time could be good. You want comfort and routine. And you also start the week feeling motivated and energized, but you end the week not wanting to do anything at all. So well, no, don't identify your love languages. Wait till module 3 to do that. But start the week with more challenging chores and end the week with more calm chores. Okay, so that is the end of this video where we are talking about God's design for the woman. It is truly a beautiful thing, and it's it's just such a design. It's such a miraculous design. So I want you to go through all 4 of your phases, and I want you to identify what tasks seem the most achievable for each of your different phases. Again, if you are someone like me who cannot easily track your cycle, try tracking your energy levels. And then based off of your energy levels, then you can apply the same method where you choose what to do and what habits to do when for each of your energy levels, but also go listen to module 3 because there's an awesome method that will really help you get all the things done for you, whether you have a cycle or not. All right. You are lovely, and so is your home. And thank you so much for watching this bonus video. I look forward to seeing you guys over in module 3.